Hey, it's Don Skaggs with Empowered Inventing, where we try to help you help other people by taking your great innovation, the right opportunity, mixing that with sound wisdom so you can turn them into real things like products and businesses that make money. Now today I want to talk to you about the story of the Kodak company. And if you've not heard this story about Kodak, I think it's a really good one for inventors and entrepreneurs, and there's a lot of really good wisdom nuggets in there because they were like the thing, and then they went down, and the reasons that they went down and how they switched from like the company that commanded the photography industry to a digital laggard to now maybe one step ahead. So Kodak's a very interesting story, and there's a lot of good lessons to pay close attention to for this, and that's why I want to talk to you about this today. It was founded by George Eastman and Henry Strong back in 1888. They held a dominant position in the photo film industry for most of the 20th century. They provided access to photography for the general public. They developed and patented the first roll film camera, and that was a big thing back in 1888. So you got to think about it. You know, there wasn't any such thing, and people had like plates, and they'd slide them in. You think about the old 19th century way they did photographs, and sometimes in the I think the original ones, I think they were called derogagraphs. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but you'd like to have to sit there for a long time for it to take your image, and so Kodak developed these films you could put in a roll, you could drop it in the camera, and you could take all of these pictures on this roll, which was just like, cool stuff. Now, there's probably a lot of 20-somethings out there that's saying, what's roll film? So that's before digital photography. That's what you used. And it became so popular, Kodak really personalized film, personalized the ability for people to have a camera and take a picture and capture those personal moments. Actually, the phrase Kodak moment became a personal, any personal event you recorded like that. It became part of our lexicon back then. And again, you probably have to be older than 20-something to know what a Kodak moment means. So anyway, this all started to change in the late 1990s due to two things. There was a decline in photo film, and then also they were very slow mover. Their slowness in moving to digital photography ended up really hurting them. Because, they commanded 90% of the film sales in 1976. And here's the ironic thing. They also developed the first digital camera in 1975. So they were ahead of the curve. So you're thinking, well, how come they couldn't just command that market? They made an internal decision, a corporate decision, to drop this digital technology that they developed, first developer on this, out of fear that it was going to threaten their main income. Fast forward to 2011, they filed for bankruptcy. Wonder why? They were so afraid that that was going to threaten their industry if they came out with a digital camera. So what happened? Other people came out with digital cameras and ruined their industry, and just decimated their industry. Didn't really didn't ruin anything. Digital became a wonderful thing. You can take 1,000 pictures on your phone now. So fast forward to 2020, after they filed for bankruptcy and they just kind of really took some hard hits, they announced plans, and their stock actually just went through the roof. Now I think it's gone down, and there's the jury's still out. This is all kind of new stuff. But in 2020, they announced plans that they were going to start manufacturing ingredients for pharmaceuticals in the United States. And you know, this could end up being a good thing. This could be a rebound story for them. I hope it is. But as I like to say with a lot of these stories where we kind of look at these companies and look at these things, what can we learn from this as inventors and entrepreneurs? Well, actually quite a few things. One is that no matter how successful you are, you can always end up losing focus and just falling down really, really hard. It happens. I've seen it happen, not just with, especially with big companies. I mean, just big companies and just any company that winds up getting this arrogance, this, oh, well, you know, we were successful here, so obviously we're going to be successful with anything else we do. And they lose their focus. They lose their soul a lot of times. And a lot of other problems wind up happening, and they end up failing. And they end up really hitting a really big fail. There's a great saying out there, especially for the larger companies, but it is so true for inventors and entrepreneurs. Failure to change is failure to survive. And you know, this can be really, really bad for large, slow-moving companies. But you know, a small company or even a solopreneur or an entrepreneur or an inventor can be a slow mover. Be so focused on what you're wanting to develop, what you're wanting to do, that you're not moving with what you're finding out in that marketplace. And you can suffer the same fate as these large idiot companies that make these same mistakes. Now here's a bright spot in this. These slow-moving companies, it's just kind of what happens with them a lot. They're so big, the bigger they are, the slower they move. It can be an actual opportunity for inventors and entrepreneurs like you and me. You think of the David and Goliath strategy. You have to be the things they aren't. If you're not familiar with the David and Goliath story, you know, here Goliath is this giant, and he's got armor, and he's got all these big spear and all of these things, big sword, and David's just like this little shepherd boy with a little bag of rocks and a sling, not slingshot, but this sling you go around your head, which actually, those slings, kind of a cool technology, because you could actually, I had read somewhere that those, well, I guess what you call Old Testament slings had the power of a 9 caliber bullet or something. It had the caliber of like a bullet. It had the stopping power of a bullet. It's pretty amazing when you look at it to be such an ancient technology. So anyway, what it was is that, you know, you had these rules of combat. You know, you had the armor and you had the sword and you had all these things, but then you had little David with this little rock that he was throwing, that he was slinging at a very, very high velocity, by the way, and with a really good aim, and he was nimble. And that's the same thing that you have to be when dealing with these large Goliath companies that are moving slow and they follow these certain rules. Well, you don't have to follow those rules. If they're made up rules, if they're not like moral rules, then you don't have to follow those things. Actually, you shouldn't follow those things if it's their made up rules. Well, you have to be this way and do this. No, absolutely not. Be the things that they are not, and don't play by their so-called rules. So you can be nimble, and it can be an amazing advantage. That's where you see these little startups and these little companies just rocket, because while these other ones are just moving slow and completely unaware and have become, you know, arrogant and oblivious, that's where you can go in and shine. And another thing, if you have had a failure, if you have, you know, suffered some losses, you can always find a way back from failure. And the same is true with Kodak. You know, there's a little light of hope. I saw a little light of hope with them when they decided to venture into the pharmaceutical industry. So we'll see. But one thing I do know is the opportunity's out there. So anyway, I hope you found this helpful. If you're looking for more information or to really gain some good wisdom, check out our Empowered Inventing Academy courses on empoweredinventing.com. And I will look to see you at the next meeting, workshop, maybe one of our online courses, or on the next video.